G'day gamers, Ranger Tony here, and we are back with another episode in Zoria, the Age of Shattering Prologue. When last we left off, we are down in this dungeon thing. We've just found this room that's been apparently locked from way before the Demon Wars or something like that. And we are continuing our way through to see how far we can get. I'm actually impressed with... Ouch, this is going to hurt. I'm actually impressed with the amount of content that's in this prologue. I didn't actually expect this many episodes to come out of running through the prologue. If you take an example, Stone Shard Prologue only took, I think, 3 episodes, 30 minutes, about an hour and a half worth of playthrough. And right now, this is the 6th episode, and they've all been at least 30 minutes so far. So we're looking at 2.5 hours worth of content already, and this will go to the 3rd hour. We're fast approaching 3 hours worth of content in the prologue. Okay, so Garrick's here. We have one skeleton warrior right back here amongst all of these guys. Can Garrick attack him? Because I'm going to have to move my wizardess and my ranger out of the way. Cancel that. I keep doing 1 to attack rather than 2. So this is the mage, so we're going to get her to step over to there, and then she can cast that over to that archer. Yeah, they're attacking my ranger because she's the weak link. Okay, chances are I'm going to lose the ranger and not even get a chance to make a decent attack with her. Adar cannot get close enough to this archer to attack. So I'm moving him forward. I want to take that archer out of the thing. He does bone spike, so my ranger's been neutralized before the combat even started. You know, just having characters that are so fragile in this is really hard, and there's not really any reliable way of protecting them. You know, like, she's got a bleed effect on her now. There's no way. She has nothing to heal except potions, and while they don't use while using these potions don't use up any of her action points, they're not an unlimited, they're not an unlimited resource. Might just... how close to that guy can you get? Is that going to be close enough to attack? It is. Good. About the best I can do with her now is to let off the lightning storm and then let her die. I don't know if that's going to hit my Adar as well or not. Doesn't look like it. That barely did enough damage to him, but it is supposed to be an area of effect. It's just that there was not enough guys around for that area of effect to be all that meaningful. Yeah, we're going to be killed here. Okay, the only advantage is he had to use both of his action points to attack. But if he's able to do more damage to me in a round than I'm able to do to him, he's going to be able to survive the longer, because he's also got more hit points. Yeah, like there's no way. I mean, sure, it does come down to luck of the draw. The really annoying thing about this is you can't sneak one person forward. Just trying to start in as advantageous position as I could, to see if maybe that would help with this fight, but it's hard to tell. I'm going to move him over to here and take on this mage. No, cancel that. Or actually, no. Can you? No line of sight. That's almost killed that guy. That's good. Once again, my ranger just gets nerfed before she can do anything. My character is almost dead yet again. Not my character, Adar. Like, I don't know why I'm identifying with him as much. Let's try the lightning storm over there. It's going to affect two of them, but it's not going to kill them. Like, this is the thing. I'd expect that to do much more damage. But in the process, I lose Adar. Now I'm going to lose the mage. And we're in an even worse position than we were last time. What am I doing? Come on. What are you doing, game? See if that works. Nope. She's got 1 hit point. And I bet you she's got no line of sight. God damn it. All I wanted to do was take out that mage. I'm expecting her to die, but all I want her to do is take that mage out, so that's 1 less. And then we lose our mage and our ranger in one go. Yeah. He's not in range. Is there anything... Let's taunt those guys. Thank God I dodged that. Not in range. I'm in range of him, though. There's no way he was going to dodge both. Look, I'm sure there is a strategy I can do. I'm starting to think that at this point, the only way I could win in this battle is to start again from scratch and rebuild those characters completely differently, making sure that everybody gets way more health. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm not going to play this anymore. This is getting frustrating. It actually feels a little bit like Stone Shard Prologue when I first played it, in that it was very, very hard. But the worst part about this isn't that hard. What is hard about this game is it's completely new mechanics which are very unfamiliar, but which are just impossible to decipher. Stone Shard was similar. Stone Shard had completely new mechanics for a game, but at least you could start to pick up what it was doing and start to make sense of it and work out what you needed to do to optimize the way you were doing things. It's a party-based game where, for a start, you don't have all the members that you need in your party. We've come across situations where we've needed thieves and lancers, which we don't have, and we can't build our own characters. So I look at it and I wonder, Is it possible to go back to those places later to pick that up? It doesn't tell you. The whole mechanics of the game are completely new and a complete mystery. So when I level up a character, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I can do to do things like just the simplest things, like increase the damage output of my characters. Increasing their protection from damage seems fairly obvious. I could have put points into armor and magical armor to protect them from physical and magical attacks. I could have swapped in. I did look at swapping in different pieces of equipment as far as armor and clothing and stuff goes, to see if that would help to improve their armor. But the mastery and the prowess and these other attributes that you have in the game that mean nothing to me, and I'm an experienced gamer. I've been playing games like this for years, and none of this makes any sense whatsoever. I mean, I understand what strength means, but what does mastery mean? Mastery of what? What does prowess mean? Prowess in what? Let's ignore the fact that prowess and mastery... You look up prowess in a thesaurus or mastery in a thesaurus, you're likely to be pointed back to each other, right? They sort of mean the same thing. So I find a lot of this confusing. Once there is a wiki available for this site, and I haven't looked to see if there is, but once there is a wiki available for this site that maybe provides a bit more guidance, or if the developers produce a manual that provides a bit more guidance. Again, I haven't looked, I've just jumped into this blind, but there's nothing in the game, and that's a big problem to me. There's nothing in the game that explains enough that I consider myself a reasonably experienced role-playing gamer. I've played a lot of different role-playing games over the years that use a lot of different mechanics in them, and I can usually pick those up fairly well and determine, okay, if I do this, it's going to improve this. I get very little of that in this game. As I mentioned in multiple episodes, I can't even work out how to pick a weapon that'll do a bit more damage. And I'm not even sure if there is a way to do that, or whether it's purely your stats in those various attributes that determine ultimately what your damage is going to be with whatever weapon. And all the weapon does is subtly adjust those stats a little bit. But there's no information in the game as to how much damage you are able to do at any point in time. So even if that was available, even if there was a damage stat listed down in the secondary attributes where you could swap out a weapon and suddenly see my damage change to a different value, you would know, okay, this is a better thing to do. And if you then updated some of your primary attributes and you saw your damage update, you would start to be able to learn this is what improves that. There's none of that in this game, so it's all an absolute mystery, and it really doesn't make it enjoyable because you can't see yourself really progress. Sure, I've got extra abilities. Quite frankly, though, most of those abilities don't seem like much. Like, that's the only time I see something tell me it's going to do a certain amount of damage. I'll have an ability and it'll say it does X amount of damage, but I find that my normal attack will do just as much or more. The only thing that ability is doing is maybe, stunning the opponent or whatever. And some of those abilities are good, but it's very confusing as to what's going on most of the time, and how to progress well, how to progress at all in the game is very, very confusing. As I've said, that last fight where we keep dying, maybe that's the end of it. Maybe I was so close and that was the final battle. I don't know. Maybe if I keep at it, I could get through that. I could just luck out, get a few rolls that go my way and get through it, and I'd find them at the end. I don't know how much more content is available in the prologue, but that real lack of information about where you are, how you're progressing, how much damage you're able to do in a normal attack, and how much damage a particular weapon does. Without any of that, it means my characters, I just give them the default thing that they start the game with and send them through and hope that that's going to last me to the end of the game, because I don't know any better. And there's no way to know any better in the game in the current format. I'm not happy with the ability to move the camera around. As I've said, I'd like the game to have a follow mode where the camera can follow you as you click around, because having to continually move the camera around when I change directions, I prefer the camera to be behind me. But then when I do want to move the camera, I can't tilt it. You're always looking down at an angle like that. I can't tilt it up enough to see more in the distance. So it very much limits that. That tends to be your fog of war in a lot of ways. You can't look up enough, and even if you zoom down, you can't move up, and there's not much in the way of zoom in and out. So it very severely restricts what you can see around you in the game, and I find that a little restricting, particularly when you're in a dungeon, where it means you've got to move all the way around the edge of a room just to be sure that you've found all the doors. Because if you walk into the middle of the room and wanted to tilt your camera up and then just turn around and look and see the walls of the room, you really can't. And I find that very limiting. And that's not necessarily something that they have to change. It's something I would like them to change. So yeah, these are my impressions, my first impressions of the game. As I said, I've made 6 episodes now. I'm not going to make any more. I may play this offline a little bit more and see if I can come up with a build of some of these characters that works better, and I might experiment a little bit more on finding out if certain primary attributes determine how much damage you're going to do, and if there is a way to determine whether one weapon does more damage than another, because we have basically found multiple, at least one alternate weapon for every single character we've had in the game, and yet it's been unclear. And the one time I did try swapping weapons, it felt to me like they didn't do as much damage, or maybe they didn't hit as often, so I swapped them back. So yeah, really not enjoying it as much as I would like. I definitely approve of the amount of content that is in the prologue, but it's not always been clear at every step what my next thing to do in the quests has been. But it hasn't been too hard to find how to progress. But yeah, I think I've gone over all the points that I wanted to go over enough. I don't think I'm going to belabor it anymore. The game, I don't know. I want to say that the game shows some promise. The graphics and art style is great. I don't have any problems with that. It runs wonderfully. This is the highest graphics settings. Everything runs really well, mostly. There's a little glitchy thing when it changes scenes or something happens and it seems to jerk the camera around. You see weird stuff for a second. But I don't know whether that's the fact that I'm running it on Linux rather than on Windows or what, because I have experienced similar things in other games. Overall, I think it does need some work. It needs some polish, and it needs to make things a lot clearer about how you progress your character, your party members, to build them in ways that will be more successful, but even just more relatable, more understandable, because at the moment they aren't. I am just randomly picking where I put attributes and just putting them mostly in the expected ones, or the recommended ones, except then I found that, you know, I had two characters that were absolutely terrible and died at the first glance of combat. So it definitely needs more work. But anyway, those are my impressions. I'm sorry I've rambled a lot here at the end, but I felt I needed to explain why I'm not going to continue with this, and make sure everybody is aware of what they're getting into if they decide to play this. If you have played this and have found some of the information that I'm lacking, please leave it in comments on any of these videos. That would be great. It won't have helped me because, unfortunately, whether you've realized it or not, I've just sat down in one sitting and played this game for a few hours and got to this point and just recorded all of it in one go. So any comments you leave on earlier videos won't have helped me on later ones, and I'm sorry that you got to this point before you realize that, but that's just the way it goes. A lot of streamers, a lot of YouTubers will do this, will do multiple recordings in one session. I hope you have enjoyed what you've seen. I hope it helps you decide as to whether you're interested in this game when it comes out. If there are more updates, this, as you can see on the screen, is version 0.3.0. If updates do come out to this prologue and I read through the notes and I find there's some significant changes that might help, I will consider coming back and replaying it, and showing you those changes and showing you how it's progressed. But as for right now, if there aren't some major changes to the game, I will probably not be buying the full release, because I'm not going to say it's unplayable, but I can't make heads nor tails of how to build my characters and what weapons work better than others and things like that. Things that in any other game are pretty straightforward to understand. Even games like Stone Shard or Pillars of Eternity that had completely different systems from the standard sort of D&D style game that we recognized, even those, it was fairly obvious to recognize how to progress certain character types. You know, if you were a fighter, then you should increase these attributes. If you were a wizard, you should increase these attributes. And then it was easy to see whether any piece of equipment, be it weapons, armor, or anything else, how that was going to help your character at any given point of time, where you just do not get that here. But I've belabored that enough. So thank you very much for joining me for this. I hope you have enjoyed this so far. I hope this helps you, and I will see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.